Good morning, children. So, welcome back to today's class. And in this class, we are going to learn about in previous class, I think we have studied about the introduction of, we have discussed about the Supreme Court, its composition. Also, we have discussed, about the judges, their qualifications required. And along with this, we have even discussed about the term, their salaries, and other things. So, in this today's class, we are going to learn about the original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. See, what is jurisdiction of Supreme Court? So jurisdiction is the power that a court of law exercises to carry out judgments and enforce laws. So that means the power that Supreme Court has to give judgments. Okay, so generally courts will give judgments. So the power that Supreme Court has to give a judgment and enforce the laws. So that means if a law is not getting implemented through its judgments, the Supreme Court will make that law implemented. And such power of Supreme Court is referred as jurisdiction. So the jurisdiction of Supreme Court is throughout the country. It can pass judgment on any case which is brought to its notice, and the power of Supreme Court is for throughout the country. So it can pass judgments on any, if any law is not implemented anywhere in the country, then the Supreme Court has the power to do that. So to make you understand, I will say, if you talk about High Court jurisdiction, the power of High Court is limited to only that particular state. But here, the power of Supreme Court is throughout the nation. So what exactly they do in that jurisdiction, Supreme Court, if you take, in its jurisdiction, which is the entire country, it exercises, it passes judgments and it enforces the laws. So, in its jurisdiction, the Supreme Court enforces laws by passing various judgments, and the Supreme Court is referred as the protector and final interpreter of the Constitution. So in any doubts, so if there is a dilemma or doubt regarding the constitutional provisions, then the final interpreter, that means who can correctly understand and say the Constitution, is the Supreme Court. And it is also the protector of the Constitution. So by any chance, if the legislative or the executive wings of the government tries to function beyond the limits of Constitution, then the Supreme Court will turn as a protector. It stops that kind of decisions taken by those people, and also it is referred as the final interpreter of the Constitution. So if any doubts arises regarding the provisions of Constitution, if somebody has to interpret the Constitution, then the last and final interpreter of Constitution in this country is Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court has both original and appellate jurisdiction as well as advisory jurisdiction. So the jurisdiction of, so we already learned what is jurisdiction, right? So it is the power to give judgments as well as to enforce the laws. So these jurisdiction has been categorized into original, appellate, and advisory. So there are many other jurisdictions. I mean, these are the major, categories of jurisdiction that we will see in the coming slides now. So let us go through the categories of jurisdiction of Supreme Court. So this is just an overview which I am going to show you here. So this is not in your syllabus and all, but to make you understand, I'm just showing. See, this is original jurisdiction and appellate jurisdiction, advisory jurisdiction, and judicial review. So, or review jurisdiction you call. So these are the categories of jurisdiction that a Supreme Court has. So here under original jurisdiction, what kind of powers Supreme Court has? Under appellate jurisdiction, what powers they have? Advisory, what powers they have? revisory what powers they have. So these are the categories of jurisdiction which is present under Supreme Court. So original jurisdiction, appellate jurisdiction, advisory and review jurisdiction. So what powers they exercise here? It is all mentioned. I mean, this is all this you learn in your higher grades like 10th grade and all. Just have a overview to make you understand. I just presented this table. So in depth you will study in your 10th grade. Okay. So this is the overview of types of jurisdiction that a Supreme Court has. So let us begin the original jurisdiction. What is this original jurisdiction? See, there are certain cases on which only the Supreme Court has the authority to decide and has jurisdiction. See, the word original, it says that it lies with the Supreme Court for the first time itself. So here the cases will go directly to Supreme Court at the first hearing itself. So the original jurisdiction will help people to file cases directly to Supreme Court. No need to come from lower courts. So there they can approach Supreme Court directly with their cases, and such power of allowing cases, certain cases directly to its hearing is referred as original jurisdiction power of Supreme Court. So, and who will decide whether a particular case has the potential to come as a original jurisdiction case or not? It is the Supreme Court. So if anybody files a case in Supreme Court, then Supreme Court will decide. See, this case, it may say like anything. See, this case has potential. Yes, I'm taking it as a direct hearing. And if it feels that it should go to lower court and later come back if they are not happy with the lower court judgment, then it will direct that person to go and file in lower court. So the power to decide to accept a case, whether it can come under original jurisdiction or not, is having with Supreme Court only, and such power is called original jurisdiction. Original jurisdiction means the power to hear a dispute in the first instance. That means the very beginning of the filing of case will happen in Supreme Court. Directly the Supreme Court will hear such kind of cases. No need to go from lower courts and all. The original jurisdiction of Supreme Court includes following cases. What kind of cases we can take up through such original jurisdiction? What kind of cases can be filed? Disputes between Government of India and one or more states. So if there is a problem between central government and many other states and many other state governments. See, in day-to-day administration, there will be lot of disputes arising between central and state governments. Okay, so in the such things, several states versus central government, or several state government may not be happy with the decision of central government, so they wanted to file a case. So now a dispute arises. For example, if Supreme Court has given a judgment on water sharing between three states, okay, final judgments, and sorry, if a particular high court as a tribunal has given a case against water sharing, and this is central government, these three states are, central government is saying no, you have to do this kind of thing, and these three states are not happy with that kind of orders from central government. So then they can file this. There arises a dispute here, right? A problem between central and state government. To make you understand, I will say, if central government says Hindi must be implemented in all the states, and these South Indian states they feel no, we can't force Hindi and all, then this is a dispute between central and state governments. So what they do, they directly go and approach a Supreme Court. So such kind of, not only this kind, there are some more big potential cases where no problems arise between central and state government. So these cases can be directly taken to Supreme Court. And disputes between two or more states. So if two states are present and there is a problem between their two governments, then they can also go to Supreme Court directly. So these cases will be taken up by Supreme Court directly. So, and as there is no chance for them to file each other on their own high courts, they must and should go to Supreme Court. So Supreme Court considers this dispute between two states as a dispute of importance, and they will take it into directly under original jurisdiction. Disputes on which only the Supreme Court can give judgments like violation of the Constitution by government. For example, if a state government or a central government violates the Constitution, they have outrightly kept the provisions of constitutions aside and acted. In such situations, the courts which are under the lower level, they are not that eligible to interpret the constitution. Maybe the wideness of interpreting of constitution is better done by Supreme Court. If a high court, suppose if a state government has crossed its limits and high court have not understood it properly, and it cannot give a judgment, and it cannot understand constitution in a broad manner, then that time Supreme Court can take up such cases directly and it can give judgments. So in terms of violation of constitution by the governments, the Supreme Court can directly take up such cases. Any citizens whose rights are violated can move to Supreme Court for the enforcement of rights. And Supreme Court has power to enforce fundamental rights by issuing orders or writs. So Constitution has given people certain fundamental rights, and if state or central government authorities or by any agencies, if they violate, or if they what do you say, if they restrict the fundamental right of an individual, that individual can directly move the Supreme Court. No need to go from lower court and then challenge it in next court and all, nothing necessary. If their fundamental right is violated or restricted by a particular government or an authority or any agency, they can directly approach the Supreme Court. And Supreme Court will take up such thing, and it will make sure that that fundamental rights are implemented. How? How does Supreme Court do that? It can do that by issuing orders or writs. So they are called as writs. So a writ is a special order issued by Supreme Court to implement only these fundamental rights when they are in threat. If an individual's fundamental right is under threat, and if that individual approaches the Supreme Court, then it issues special orders called writs, and thereby protecting their fundamental rights. It is for this reason that the Supreme Court is called the guardian and protector of fundamental rights. So because of this reason only, Supreme Court has been even referred as guardian, that means a watch person, and protector of fundamental rights. So this is about the kinds of cases that Supreme Court accepts under original jurisdiction. It can take up directly and pass judgments on such cases. So coming to the next category of jurisdiction. Okay, so we have understood just now the original jurisdiction. Now let us understand the other category called appellate jurisdiction. So what is this appellate jurisdiction? See, the word appellate means appeal. So what do you mean by appeal? Appeal means just putting up a request. Okay, so it means the powers to grant special leave to appeal against the judgment delivered by any court in the country. Suppose I have a problem, I have a dispute, and I'll approach to my district court because my dispute is very small dispute or something like that. So what I do, I file a case in my district court, and I am not happy with the judgment passed by district court. So what I'll do next, I will appeal into the high court. So I'll appeal to the next level court called high court. And even if I am not happy with the judgment of high court, then what I will do, then I'll put up a request to Supreme Court. So this form of approaching court level by level, or this hierarchical approach to courts, when the judgments passed by lower courts are not acceptable to a particular person, is referred as appellate jurisdiction. Supreme Court has power to take appeals from the lower court. So what are the next level courts to Supreme Court? High courts. So Supreme Court accepts any kind of appeals from high courts. So if a person is not happy with the judgment passed by a high court regarding his case, then he can appeal to Supreme Court, and Supreme Court will decide that. Sometimes the High Court also will permit such certain things. We'll discuss that now. That is all depth, no need to discuss here. So how the Supreme Court allows a person to approach it when he is not happy with High Court's decision? Through a special leave. Special leave is a extraordinary tool where the person who is not happy with the High Court judgment can directly approach Supreme Court. No need for High Court to certify, or no need for the High Court to give permission for that person to appeal. Special leave petition is a unique petition which is allowed by Supreme Court for that particular person who can directly approach Supreme Court without the permission of High Court. Suppose I filed a case in High Court and the High Court has passed a judgment and I am not happy with the judgment, and the High Court is not certifying for me to go to Supreme Court. There is a process, okay, technical process, where the High Court certifies in certain things, or it itself allows to go to Supreme Court because it feels that it is not under its limit. But if a High Court is not certifying and all, then the person, is it good for that person or me to not go to Supreme Court because High Court is not certifying? No. Till I get justice, I should go to another court. I should have that right. So even though High Court does not certifies a particular case, Supreme Court allows such cases for that particular person to reach that case in the form of special leave petition. So I file a special leave petition, and if Supreme Court feels that no need for the High Court intervention, then it can directly take up such case. So under appellate jurisdiction, it is simple. Appeals go from lower court to Supreme Court. So a court may change the decision or reduce the sentence passed by lower court. So when an appeal from High Court or lower court goes to Supreme Court, what can Supreme Court do? It can change the decision of that particular lower court or a High Court. It can completely change the decision, or it can reduce the sentence passed by lower court. Also, it can reduce the punishment. Suppose if High Court has given some 10 years of punishment, Supreme Court may change it to 5 years, or it may completely remove that punishment also. Anything may, the Supreme Court is empowered to pass any judgment of its kind through appellate jurisdiction, and the Supreme Court is the final court of appeal. So in this country, you can go from your mandal court or taluka court, then to your district court, from district court to High Court, and from High Court to Supreme Court. And after Supreme Court, no. Supreme Court is the final interpreter of the, final court of appeal. Whatever Supreme Court says, that is final. So nobody can again say object the decisions passed by Supreme Court. So then comes the advisory jurisdiction. So another important jurisdiction. The President may obtain the opinion of Supreme Court on a question of law or fact which is of public importance. So see, President, he is part of Parliament and he is also head of the executive. As he is part of Parliament, he gets many bills to him, right? We studied in legislative chapter. Bills will be sent from both houses, and he has, after his signature, they will become law. And when bills come to him, and if President has some doubt over whether that bill is constitutionally correct or whether it is constitutionally valid or not, he may approach Supreme Court for its opinion. The President can approach Supreme Court's opinion if he gets a doubt on a law or the bills which he got, and or if there is a very important public matter which is going on in the country, he can take Supreme Court's opinion on that particular matter, law, or an issue. However, the Supreme Court, if it gives its opinion, so generally if President asks, the Supreme Court will give its opinion. When opinion is given, it is only advisory. That means now President has asked Supreme Court. Supreme Court has given its opinion, and this opinion is not binding for the President to follow. Okay, it is not compulsory for the President to follow that kind of opinion. So he may or he may not follow it. It is just as an advice. I mean, it is an advice. It is not like a compulsion thing. So this is called advisory jurisdiction of Supreme Court. So now let us study the other category of Supreme Court jurisdiction called revisory jurisdiction. So the word revise means go through again and make changes. So revise means go through again and make changes. So what it will go through again, what changes it will make, that we will see now. The Supreme Court under Article 137 is empowered to review any judgment or order made by it with a view to remove any mistake or error that might have crept in the judgment or order. See, generally, when cases come to it, Supreme Court will pass judgments, and this judgment is final. I said, right, it is a final court of judgment. So when judgment comes, by chance, very rarely, if a by chance there is an error or there is a mistake that has committed, if Supreme Court judges, see, after all, they are also human beings, right? The judges are also human beings. There is a chance that there is a chance. I'm not saying that they will go regularly and all, but there is a chance by the possible human errors may happen. So, and there is a wrong judgment or there is some error in the judgment. And if this judgment is left like this with error, what happens? These judgments generally passed by Supreme Court will be referred by other courts. If similar kind of cases comes, suppose these are all state high courts. These state high courts, whenever similar cases come to their notice, they take reference of Supreme Court judgments. So what will happen if they also take the error of this judgment? This error will be again repeated in this courts also, right? So what Supreme Court will do, as it is, see, this is the final judgment, right? And in such judgments, if they are followed by some other courts, it becomes a very big mistake. To avoid such mistakes, Supreme Court will review its orders sometimes. So if you file a review petition in Supreme Court, and if Supreme Court feels that yes, there is some kind of error happened in its judgment, then it can review such judgments, because Supreme Court acts as a court of record. That means its judgments are preserved and also used for reference by other courts. Hence, to avoid other courts also to copy the errors it committed, it has the power to review its own judgments. It has power to correct its own judgments through revisory jurisdiction. So this is about the revisory jurisdiction.